So I figured after giving my 10 cents worth on one AFL team, I might try my hand at giving opinions on what all 18 AFL teams will do this year. So here we go, and I'm prepared to be super wrong on this.
18th, North Melbourne.
North are doomed. Losing Atley, Dumont and Garner and gaining a single 18-year-old who they'll play at half forward. Genius. Actually, Greenwood will be a bit of help if he can actually stay fit, but for me, there's very little improvement to be had here.
17th, Collingwood.
Paddy Lipinski is a big in for the Pies and may prevent them from outright finishing last, but the losses of Sear and Main in particular have me concerned about their defence, and I'm not sure Agent Smith is going to get them the goals up front that they need. I reckon they'll manage to win Anzac Day somehow, but 17th is probably the best they can hope for.
16th, Hawthorn.
I'm honestly not sure about the 2022 Hawks. They finished last season JFK style, with a bang, and their losses are mainly bit part players, but I don't like their lack of depth. Sicily's return for mine is overhyped. I can't wait to see him give away more 50-metre penalties this year than Melbourne somehow.
15th, the Gold Coast.
Christ, Gold Coast is shit. I have no further detailed analysis. Moving on.
14th, Adelaide.
Christ, Adelaide, no. I am the opposite to impartial when it comes to the Crom, having wasted several hours of the internet's time banging on about how odd they are, why finishing last was somehow a good thing, and making retching noises whenever Ian Perry's name came up. Oh no. Oh, it looks like my lunch came up too. Adelaide have a range of talented youngsters who will lurch toward 8 wins, win a showdown unexpectedly, and buy time before making the 8 next year, fingers crossed.
13th, West Coast.
West Coast are about to Ken Judge all over the table, wall and floors. Kennedy won't make it through the year, McGovern has to hold down his defence alone at 30, and Kelly is still a thoroughly overrated flop for mine. They're getting to the rebuild tipping point, so watch for game time to be pumped into the youngsters, especially when Darling gets dropped. Bet you wish you still had Jared Brander, Eagles fans.
12th, Richmond.
Richmond fans, it brings me no small joy to announce to you all that your dynasty is over. Yes, you may have destroyed my team comprehensively, sparking a collapse that exposed several fundamental flaws in how the club was run, triggering a drop from first to last that is almost completely unprecedented, all while you won 3 premierships and confirmed several future Hall of Famers. But you will still suck slightly less than us this year, so take that? Oh, fucking hell, 5 years later and I'm still depressed. Ugh. Next.
11th, Carlton.
Carlton are hard to get a read on. Yes, they beat Melbourne in the pre-season comp with near full strength sides, but the 6 or 7 150-metre penalties that these gave away really flattered the Blues. They've recruited well, Hewitt and Sarah especially, while I think they'll miss the inexplicably delisted Michael Gibbons, the retired Mark Murphy, and the man I one day hope to marry. They've got solid stocks all round the ground, except key forwards. I don't care that Mackay won the Coleman. I still think he's one of the least convincing tall forwards in the league. He's going to bomb. And honestly, if he gets within 15 goals of this year's Coleman winner, I'll straight arm a litre of milk. Dead set.
10th, Essendon.
Modern day Essendon, the premature ejaculation and subsequent ED of football. Delisting Zaharakis wasn't just a bad call on field, but as one of the few who battled through the 2016 debacle, he showed that he was both honest and a great leader. And I think that's going to affect the dressing room somewhat. I can't see improvement from these boys, and I think Benny Rutten's going to have a hard time maintaining his job come the end of the contract.
9th, Fremantle.
Fremantle haven't lost a whole lot of raw talent this year, and they've brought in Clark and Brodie, both good young players, but I'm not convinced. They will again rely on a David Mundy who will end the season 3 years away from his 40th birthday, and any team that gives that many minutes to Travis Collier is always suspect. They'll have a good midfield mix again, and be solid up the back as they always are, but that forward line's horrendous. I can't see them scoring the points they need to win games.
8th, Greater Western Sydney.
GWS are following the Adelaide plan to a T, but instead of dropping to last and recruiting a cult hero with an unpronounceable name, they'll hover around the middle thanks to a star midfield and the underrated wonders that are Nick Haynes and the good Himmelberg. It won't be smooth, but it won't be too bumpy.
7th, Geelong.
Like a Billy Frampton set shot, Geelong have missed the window. Over the last 2 years, they've fielded the 9 oldest lineups in VFL AFL history, and now they're not only 6 months older still, but they've lost 2 younger players in exchange for another over 30 starter. There's unbelievably great names in this team, but fatigue will be a factor. They will drop like a stone after round 16 and be lucky to scrape finals.
6th, St Kilda.
I'm doing these predictions without looking at anyone else's, so I feel like I'm going out on a limb putting the Saints up this high. But Brad Crouch, Seb Ross, Steele, Sinclair, Hill, Billings and Marshall is a hell of a midfield to have. Max King will have a breakout season, landing a top 3 in the Coleman. And who have they lost? Sean McKernan? Oh no? And him. Yeah, I didn't understand that either. They won't go deep into September, but they'll smack Geelong around in the opening week easily enough.
5th, the Western Bulldogs.
There's something about these guys that tells me that the aftermath of a grand final belting won't be dog days. They still have a fantastic unit, with Lipinski not being a big loss for them, and I can definitely see them having the best defence in the league. The 3 towers up front will develop more and should grab big hauls. They won't collapse. They'll be in and around the pointy end yet again.
4th, Melbourne.
Yeah, deal with it. As the 2010s Melbourne documentary that we're producing will show, the Demons are a powder keg of ups and downs. They've kept within 2 wins of a previous year's win count 8 times in the AFL era, with 0 of those being after the Corio exorcism. They're that volatile. They'll either win 20 this year or dip to 15 or worse. I still have them making the grand final, but I doubt if they'll have the hunger to win it a second time from the hungry lineup of...
3rd, Brisbane.
The Brisbane Lions, who will become 2022 AFL Premiers from 3rd. It's their time. They've finally got a competent ruckman to replace McInerney while losing only anti-vaxxers, Bitpart Dross and Grant Birchall. They have stars on every line, a good blend of experience and youth, and the ankle breaker king Zach Bailey. They'll go the distance.
2nd, Sydney.
Lance Franklin will be pivotal to Sydney's campaign, and that ain't a good thing. He is a very old man. Yes, last year he got 51 goals. Excellent. It was also 51 more than 2020, a year Sydney paid around 800 grand for him to sit on his ass in Sydney's finest physiotherapists, and a year in which they got 5 wins. Yeah, no one talks about that, do they? 18 months ago, this finals-bound team had 5 wins in a whole season. That's how quickly they've turned around. Taking notes, are we, Matthew? They've got a young, fighting lineup, and their halfback line is easily the best to watch in the entire comp. It'd be ideal if they still had Hewitt and Brand, but they're minor losses in comparison to what they already have. And hey, despite my naysaying, they actually went 4-0 without Franklin last year. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will win a flag with a 35-year-old as their only genuine tall forward. And maybe I'll shit out the centre point tower, who knows, 2nd place.
And your winners, Port Adelaide.
And that leaves these guys. Yes, you'll win another minor premiership. Well done, here's your chocolate medal, Port Adelaide. Despite the retirement of the one true fantasy pig and the heartless delisting of Heartlet, Port will rise again. Sin looks a great in, while Finlayson is an inspired piece of recruiting. They'll be a fun team to watch again, and the highlight will again be losing a very winnable preliminary final. Was Alan Scott so wrong after all? And my yearly medalists. Well, since Brisbane are lifting the flag, the Norm Smith has to go to a Lions, so I'll go left field, not for Daniel Rich, in a Caleb Daniel-esque performance, except his team will actually win. The Brownlow medal belongs to Marcus Bontempelli, so of course it will be won by Darcy Parish or someone similar whose teammates just don't poll. The Coleman will be led by Tom Hawkins at the halfway mark, but Charlie Cameron will swoop in and become the shortest man to win it since Gary Ablett. So that's my predictions. I'm not entirely confident, but it is what it is. What are your predictions for the season? Let us know down below, and we'll see you on the next video.